Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Magic the Gathering Online Discovery Zone. I am your host, Nile Joan Rivers, and this week I am joined by Magic expert and content creator PieGonti. How you doing this morning?
I'm fine.
Well, this week we are taking a look at a modern deck and one that you have a lot of experience with, and that is this not really, I guess it's a Murktide deck, but a lot of people have been calling it a Frogtide deck because of its use of the Psychic Frog card, and now we've got the Abhorrent Oculus from Duskmourn. So tell us a little bit about this deck and why you like it so much and what it's trying to do.
Yeah, I love this deck because it's one of the few decks in Modern that lets you have agency over your plays. And I mostly like it because it plays Counterspell. That's something kind of unique in Modern because, in other formats like Legacy, everyone plays Force of Will. But in Modern, the format is so full of threats that no one actually plays Counterspells. And also I like it because it's a tempo deck, and tempo is one of the coolest ways you can play Magic, because I think it's what makes it unique. Because in other decks, like in other games like Lorcana, you only have action during your turn, but interacting with your opponent is what makes me love Magic. Specifically, this deck, it's quite unique because Duskmourn gives us Abhorrent Oculus, that is a strange threat. It can be a backup for Murktide, but someone already kind of broke this down for us, so it's our main threat now. It's very strong because costing 3 let us cheat it into play with an Earth, so we can play it even on turn 2. And the card is really strong when you play that on turn 2 or 3, because it starts snowballing and putting more threats into play, allowing you to be the aggressor. Because I think one of the flaws of the deck is sometimes you play from really behind, because of course you really need to counterspell a lot of things, while this version allows you to be the aggressor sometimes and kind of play a combination of cards that are quite powerful together. And I think all the other cards, especially Scour, Unearth, but even Oculus, aren't so bad on their own, because you can Unearth a Psychic Frog, you can Scour to grow Murktide or Pumped Frog, and you can eventually play Oculus for free mana. It's not this bad.
Yeah, I knew Abhorrent Oculus was strong going into this, but when I played this deck for the first time, I really was surprised at just how strong it was. It really, again, I knew it was strong already, but I was really surprised at just how powerful it felt to actually have one on the battlefield and be, manifesting dread every turn. It's really good. We are going to start by taking a look at a match of this deck that I played on my own, and you're just gonna sort of coach me through it, and then we'll play one together. So if you're ready, I can pull up my most recent match.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Alrighty. Alright, so it was a best of 3. Here is game 1. Okay, so off to a pretty bad start where I lose the die roll and am on the draw. But what do you think of this hand? Because I really went back and forth on this hand a bunch.
Okay, so I'm kind of an old school reader, and I remember one article of Paulo Vitor that says never keep one landers. I think you can kind of iterate on this point, but when you have no cantrips, for me is 100% a mulligan. The reason is mostly because you're playing a game with 2 opponents. One is your deck, because you're hunting to find lands, and one is your actual opponent. So I think I would put back this hand, unless I know 100% I'm against someone that I need to force. But I don't think those decks exist right now in Modern. I would give this maybe versus Leaping Hand, but on average I would mulligan. I think it's fine.
Sure. Yeah, I ended up deciding to keep it, mostly just because I felt like I was on the draw, I could surveil, I would get potentially 3 looks at another land, but I felt like it was a kind of spicy keep. that, you know, you might disagree with. But yeah, so I did end up keeping it. They surveil. We are in the mirror. Surprise, surprise.
Nice.
And I do get to surveil here. And it is a land, so you know. Always had it, never punished.
Nice.
And from here, I was pretty unsure what I was supposed to do. If I was just supposed to jam Frog while they only had 1 mana, or if I was to respect cards like Fatal Push and Spell Snare and stuff like that. What are your thoughts?
So, like when your opponent starts like this, I usually assume that they have either Spell Snare Push, because otherwise they would play the Shockland untapped, or they have a Consider. I think like playing turn to Frog, since it's like the best card in your hand, isn't really valid. And I usually, when I play the mirror, I like to be the controlled player among the two. So I think I would just pass. And I maybe, like, even if they play Consider, maybe I wouldn't even crack to play Bowmaster. I think I would just try to fetch another survey land to make sure I have land on top.
Sure. Well, I do end up passing. They do not play Consider. And I get here, and I think I do go for, the second Surveil. And there's an Oculus, which I thought, great, I want this in the graveyard pretty much anyway, right? Like, it's just good. So I just threw that in the graveyard. Do you think that is correct?
Yes, 100%. I think here you are looking for lands, so it's kind of fine.
Sure. Hit another Abhorrent Oculus, so that's, you know, less than ideal. I decide to just move to cleanup, kind of for the reasons that you were talking about of, you know, like wanting to, as much as I can, be the controller, but also because I thought, great, I can just put this Abhorrent Oculus in the graveyard.
Okay, I don't think I agree with this. Like, I think it's like the second best move you can do. I think the first is move to end step, give your opponent priority. When they give you priority back, I would play the Bowmaster, as you don't lose any card. And I think since you have Fatal Push is kind of the best card in the mirror in terms of removal, because you really want to remove the Frog from the battlefield. Since you have 2, I think it's fine to not go down on cards.
Okay, sure.
And also, like, you force them to act. But I think it's fine also to discard the Oculus.
Okay, and they just pass again, and this is when I play my Bowmasters. And, you know, stuck on 2 lands, punished for the spicy 1-lander. But, you know, we get rid of a Fatal Push here.
Also, if I can stop you, like previously, I would have maybe discarded the Harbinger of the Seas, because since they have basic Swamp already, it's 3 mana to 2.
Sure.
So, Il Giant. Well, I think Abhorrent Oculus might be decent in end, because we already have 1 in the graveyard, so if we draw an Earth, we are covered. But eventually, like, if the game goes long, it might be fine to cast it. So
yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess especially because I already had an Oculus in the graveyard. But anyway, I just jam a Frog there because I kind of figure, like, what else am I gonna do? And we have the Unearth here. Which is great, but also would love to be able to cast it with some sort of counter magic up. Anyways, I go for it, they counterspell. Then they just play an Abhorrent Oculus from hand, and this is when I start to really feel fear.
Yeah. Yeah, dread situation.
Yeah, so I get my third land, which is great. You know, love that. But I feel like there's a lot of things that can be done from here.
I think you start by attacking probably, and they can't really block.
Sure. Well, that is where I start.
And then you can do the kamikaze play of pushing your creature and pushing the Oculus.
Whoa! I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
If they have 3 cards, maybe it's fine because their graveyard is not so full. So you still have 4 cards in hand. One is Frog. So I think like it's fine as a play.
Wow, that's. It would have taken me a long time to find that line, I think. I end up just playing the Frog and holding up a push. I am about to get massively punished when this manifest flips over to a Harbinger and all my lands are blue now. So they end up not attacking.
Yeah, them tapping Swamp means they probably don't have Fatal Push.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe we can do something with this Frog, like tap the end and attack.
Yeah, so I do end up jumping the Frog. Very interested to know what you would do in, hold on, this position.
Oh, the block. I mean, I think I will dump push, fetch, and probably Harbinger.
I think that's maybe exactly what I get rid of, or close to. Yes, I keep Force.
Makes sense. So of course they have an Earth, otherwise this block kind of makes no sense. But it's sad that we don't have a third.
Yeah, a third blue card would be amazing. Yes, they go for this, discarding an Oculus. I go to force it. They force back, and I think from here I'm just kind of, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Run over.
It's funny that if we discarded Harbinger over the Oculus, maybe we got a chance this game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and then, you know, they just
Yeah.
Okay, so game 2. First thing I want to look at is the sideboard, because I felt pretty confused about how to sideboard. I ended up taking out the Harbinger, Murktide, and then like there were 4 cards that I felt pretty sure I wanted to bring in, and then after taking out these 2, I was just kind of like, everything feels so important. You know, like no card feels cuttable. I ended up just cutting 2 Considers, which felt illegal. It felt like a sin. It felt like something I was not supposed to do. But like I don't know. I didn't know it's a cut.
Okay, so first it's kind of smart to bring in to keep in the force, because like before in the when you play Blue-Black Frog, usually with 4 Murktide and 0 Oculus, I think I would approach the mirror as a mid-range battle. So I think Force of Negation is the worst card in your deck, as you never want to 2 for 1. 1 for 2, sorry, I mean. But I think playing those kind of mirrors, Force is kind of important, because it's now a mirror of combo.
Sure.
So I think I'm still fine of cutting the Harbinger of the Seas, and I usually cut also 1 counterspell, because counterspell, like, you already have other counter magic.
Sure.
So usually when you bring more counter magic, is not super relevant. Also, costing 2 mana means they usually play 3 or 4 spell snare. It's kind of clunky. And I usually like to cut Scours over Consider, because
Really?
I think, yeah, because I prefer consistency over like having a broken play. Because you're playing a blue mirror, they play push for your Oculus, they play counter spells as well. But I would never cut Murktide. Murktide is kind of unbeatable, because there are so few ways to deal with that. Like, I'd rather cut Oculus over Murktide, to be honest.
Okay, sure. No, that
And
makes sense.
yeah, the rest is fine. Of course, I'm playing Ghost Vacuum. It's very strong. That's the idea.
Yeah. Ghost Vacuum. The Ghost Vacuums came in. I'm trying to remember the other 2 cards in the sideboard.
Mystical Dispute, I think.
Dispute comes in, and then I think there was a third Spell Snare. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, so this hand felt like great to me.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Absolutely.
I loved everything about it, and it just seemed like an easy get Ghost Vacuum down immediately. And then Thought Scour drew into Unearth, so there was a chance it could have been a real hero and, you know, got us a creature, but it just got us more counter magic. So I just figure, you know, this can, whatever. Do you prioritize, like in this situation, assuming I don't need to like spell snare something on their turn, do you prioritize surveilling off of the land or thought scouring on their instant?
I think it's better to scour, because if they play Bowmaster, you follow up with Oculus, and you're super fine. And I think like you have no rush in fetching the surveillance. I think they are better when they are in the deck.
Sure. Well, I ended up going for the sewers, and I dumped a polluted Delta, and then just Ghost Vacuumed a random card from their graveyard. Okay, so I end up just hard casting this Oculus,
Makes sense.
which gets Mystical Disputed, which unfortunately, you know, does not cost 2 mana. And I considered just unearthing here, but I thought it was probably better to just be able to either unearth into a spell snare or possibly, you know, like consider on their end step and then just hard cast an Oculus into a spell snare or something like that.
I think you can if you unearth and they counter spell, you have 5 cards in the graveyard, so if you consider you can then play Oculus. So I think I would just have just played the unearth, yeah.
Sure,
make them end.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, we continue to Ghost Vacuum them. I go for the Unearth, and now I've got a Mystical Dispute backing it up as well. And I decided not to play the Frog. because I thought maybe it was more important to hold up Mystical Dispute now that I had like an established board.
I think I like to put pressure because like there aren't many cards you want to dispute. I know someone is playing like Jason Sculptor, but alongside those cycles, you can just play the frog. If they push the Oculus somehow, they also need to deal with frog, and they might have snare of their own, but kind of feels strange. So
Sure.
I don't think it's worth. But of course, we find the frog. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I end up disputing their frog. And they counterspell my dispute. And I just push with my creatures. And I flip my frog. And I think they just say GG. Yeah, they just say GG here.
I don't know about this play. I think I would just attack it with the Oculus.
Really?
Yeah. Like, at least flip the frog after they discard a card. Because, like...
Sure.
It doesn't change much, of course. It's very, very small margins, but...
Sure, yeah. No, that makes sense, though. That makes sense. Okay, so... Last game. Game 3. On the draw. Would you have kept this?
Yes, I usually lands and spells I keep. I am School of Mango.
Sure. Alright, Spell Snare off the top. So go ahead and play the fetch land just in case. Surveil a land into the graveyard. So in that position, I ended up going with the tap land because I just felt like I needed to get it online, and I had a Spell Snare. Should I have just shocked here in case they... I don't even know really what they could play here that would be so scary to me that I couldn't Spell Snare.
No, I would have done the same, to be honest.
Okay.
I think that the worst is like if in your end step they like play double Scour and then they play Oculus now.
Sure.
But I think it's fine to maximize your land drops for turn 3.
Sure. Okay, go for an Unearth. It gets counterspelled. Spell Snare it.
Easy.
Easy game. Easy game. We get a frog off the manifest again. Because we're the best to ever do it.
Nice. Okay. Okay. Sure.
Now, do you think I should have just played out the Oculus instead of flipping the frog here?
It's interesting. No, I think it's fine just to flip the frog, because you can play a counterspell.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a bit better by how your mana plays, and next turn you can play Oculus plus counterspell. But it was interesting because they decide to push instead of push counterspell. So I'm not sure if they have a counter in hand. Might be that they don't have it.
Sure. Yes, they go for this. I counter. They hard cast a force. And at this point, I mean, I feel pretty good to just Oculus and Frog.
Yeah, I personally would have saved the fetch just in case you draw push.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But again, it's very, very marginal.
Okay, they bring in a Snapcaster Mage, which I was not expecting. But they, you know, bone shards the Oculus,
It's fine.
sacrificing the Snapcaster.
Oh, you actually draw push.
Yeah, I did draw a push. But they just end up conceding from here.
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine.
But yeah, so big things that I feel like I picked up from that was for one, I think the fetch land fatal push thing is something that I should just in general be considering more. Two, I think that I need to be more willing to put pressure and commit aggression and stuff like that. And yeah, I think those are the big things.
Yeah, I think a lot in the mirror comes from end reading. So understanding what do they have and how do they represent it is better to solve the puzzle because then you can just play accordingly. But I think like before Oculus was printed, you really wanted to be the control player because of course the answers are more than the threats. You have pushes, snare, shoot the sheriff, master, etc. to deal with Frog. And Murktide was kind of the holy cow. But nowadays, I think just Oculus is the weapon to surpass the mirror. So if you can put a lot of pressure in the early game, even if they solve the situation, you leave a couple of 2/2s into the board. And of course, you're playing a resource mirror, so you usually win with those. In fact, we won with the 2 manifest cards we had.
Right. Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, are you ready to get into a live game together?
Yes.
All right. What do you think is the deck that we most want to see, like, to play against?
Well, I think the mirror without Oculus. It's very easy to play.
Sure.
But I think like after like the Oculus deck is like has only good matchups if you see Oculus fast.
Sure.
Otherwise, you struggle, of course.
Yeah.
It's sort of a combo deck from my perspective.
Okay, that makes sense. Alright, here we go. We won the die roll. That's huge. Alright, this is the one lander. I've been told this is illegal to keep.
So our opponent reveals Giganta, meaning they might be on Boros. It's the most popular deck in the format. This hand can be very strong versus Boros if we can spike a land off the top. And Spellsnare is actually a strong turn to play. Do you feel lucky?
I always feel lucky. I love rolling the dice.
Well, let's keep.
Let's do it! Yay! Okay. So we're wanting to turn this into a surveil land, I assume?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
We have like 19 shot at a land plus 3 Oculus. Either of the two is fine.
Force of Negation is not a land or an Oculus. That's tough. So, do you think we just push this now, or do we wait and see what they do?
I'd wait, because usually they keep with a 2-drop, and in case they put a 1-drop into the stack, we can just push that.
Sure.
Like, this end is fine because we can miss, I think, one more land drop, and then it's over. But okay, Snare. Like, Snare is so powerful.
Yeah, really, really great.
Yeah, I think I would consider personally 2 more shots at a land.
Not a land. Oh, let's go. Huge.
Nice.
Okay, now I assume we're still just waiting.
Yes.
Okay.
Because again, if they play another Ajani, I think you'd rather kill Ajani than guide.
Sure.
Here, I think you want to kill Guide of Souls, as they can't really play Fledge, or Blood Moon, or Ring. So they have just...
Would you get out a Watery Grave or a Swamp?
I think a Swamp, just because we are already at 16, so I would save some life, and since we don't have Counterspell, it's kind of fine.
Sure. Okay, they got a Goblin Bombardment.
That's very strong.
Yeah. We don't really have ways to deal with that once it's at the board, right?
No. I mean, we can bounce it with Sink into Stupor, but
sure.
not the best play. I think I would play Psychic and pass.
You would play what and pass?
A Psychic Frog.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I have an Italian accent, so some cards are strange to say.
Sure. Static Prison. Oh, that's tough.
I think we discard the Oculus now.
Oh, that'd have been really great.
We're at 14, we have 3 cards in hand.
Yeah.
So this is tough. I think we can either... I think I would try to roll and scour to find another Oculus. Or maybe a Frog again. There is a land, it's fine. And I think here we pass, yeah. I think here you need to... Oh, I would have killed the...
Oh, the guide.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries, no worries.
Okay, so here, do we just want to let this attack through?
No, I think now we play Master, I think.
Sure. We just get an island off of this?
Yes. I think Master and probably ping the guide. Let's see what they do.
Now, do you think we need to double block the guide?
Yeah, I would double block.
Okay.
Wow. Sure. Deal. Okay, that's problematic.
Yeah, that's a difficult one.
Go to 10. There's nothing cool we can unearth, right?
Now we have Bowmasters. We have Bowmasters.
Okay, so I think we just play the Oculus and we fetch. I don't feel super good into this game, but we might have a chance if I roll a bit.
Sure. Is there any reason to take the Murktide?
I mean, binning the spell is always better for another Murktide usually, so...
So we do want to manifest the Murktide?
Yeah.
Sure. Play seems pretty good.
I'm kind of sure they missed Lethal, but fine. Problem is, like, we don't really have a way to deal with the Ajani once it's resolved, so I've played the Long Goodbye in a while, but wasn't super strong. If you fetch, you lose a spot.
Sure.
I mean, it's not... Yeah, I would scoop. It's fine.
Okay, sideboarding versus Boros Energy.
So I usually side, of course, for Glistening Deluge. Snare. I usually side in 2 Ghost Vacuum. Mostly for Plage, but it's a good tool. And I'm starting to bring in the flute.
Okay, what are you fluting?
Mostly Ring.
Sure.
Because they can play Ring and you respond with that, so it's a cool play. And sometimes you just flute Ajani, you can flute Flage, so fine. I usually cut Sink into Stupor, Harbinger to force 1 counter spell. And how many slots still? 3 cards?
3 more.
You can cut like a couple of Scours and maybe I'm not super sure because like some boss players play more removers, some players play Graveyard Date, so I'm usually on the side between Murktide and another Scour, but I think cutting Scours is not bad. I think it's fine.
Sure. Alright, cool.
Yeah, I like the look of these.
We would love to play first. Alright, lands and spells.
Yeah, this hand is actually strong.
Now, do you think we start on the Undercity Sewers or the Flooded Strand?
I think we would play land pass. Mostly because you want to push the 1-drop and counter the 2-drop, so
Sure.
it's fine. Of course, if they play Ocelot, you can just push to 17. Guide of Souls is actually stronger, so...
And you think just play the fetch land to hold up counterspell?
Yeah, exactly. It's sad that we drew the second sewers.
It is sad that we drew the second sewers.
We could play.
And we're countering this?
Yes, I usually counter a 2-for-1.
You think just island this time?
Yes. It's actually kind of relevant to fetch basics because they have Blood Moon sometimes.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Surely now we're playing Undercity Sewers?
Yeah. I would graveyard that because might be that we play Concealer.
Sure.
I think it resolves.
Okay. Are we playing our Bowmasters?
I'm thinking. I think maybe it's better to just consider because I don't know. It doesn't feel good to play Bowmaster here.
Yeah. Unearth. I don't
I
have
think
anything.
I would pin this. Okay.
Well, there's the thing we want. So do you think we just play the Oculus?
Yes. No, I would play. Okay, I would have played the Watery Grave.
Oh, sure.
You don't lose 2 more damage. Maybe they decide to play Blood Moon. Hopefully we flip another Oculus. Keep the island.
So, like, manifest the Flooded Strand?
No, manifest the island.
Okay, sure.
It's very, very, very minor, but maybe they don't play Blood Moon. They don't commit into Blood Moon, so we still have a shot in finding the third island.
Sure.
If they play Ring, it's... they don't play Ring, okay. Never mind.
Whoa.
Okay. They really have cards to waste. They probably have like a Bolt in hand or a Static. Sorry, or a Galvanic.
We just
That's
play
strong.
a frog?
I think so because you don't get better in waiting. So, and you also play the Surveilland.
We definitely want this, right?
It's kind of low impact, but it's probably fine to keep. Yes, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. Too.
Sure.
Interesting that they don't play removal on the frog.
They let us have our island back. Let's go.
Wow, it works that way? I didn't know that.
That the manifest creature just comes back as the thing. Oh. Okay.
I think I would discard 2 if they decide to kill the frog. Just because if they have another removal, it's fine. But I think frog it's fine to keep. As we know, we have just pushing on top, so we can push the Ajani or even to push the Flage.
Mm-hmm. You think we're just passing?
I think it's fine to let's pass. You can even push the Ajani now.
Sure.
So they can't play a removal response.
Sure.
Wait. Yeah, let's wait for them to
Sure.
do something with. Let's see how they attack, and then we'll decide.
Should we push the Johnny now so they can't?
I think now you can wait because they tapped out, so it's fine.
Sure.
Very curious if they attack or not. Okay.
You think we're just?
Yeah, we can. No, let's just wait. We have plenty of mana. We have no rush in pushing stuff. Okay, we need to do something alive. This polluted wasn't great. And just pass.
Man, the One Ring is such an oppressive card.
Yeah.
Goblin Bombardment.
Push the Ajani now, otherwise it's a nightmare. And it's strange because they tapped the haste land.
Yeah, that is strange.
So they either don't have a land drop. Okay. I would scoop to preserve my mental sanity.
Sure. Wow. A reason it's the most popular deck, huh?
Yeah, it's fine. I think like game 1, if we didn't misclick on the frog the Oculus, would have been fine. And of course game 2, when you don't miss a land drop in the first 7 turns, usually it's tough.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, the deck feels very good and very strong. I mean, it really felt like for a lot of both of those games, we had a lot of like pretty live draws. Like, I mean, obviously in this one we ended up just hitting like a bunch of lands in a row, but it felt like there were a lot of things that could come together pretty nicely. But yeah, okay. This has been super helpful. I will continue to play this deck some more and then have you back on here soon to review more footage and see how I have learned and progressed with the deck, and then we'll play some more.
Nice.
All right, well, thank you for joining me, and have a great day. Bye.
Bye.